The moment the mechanic slid a few crumpled bills across the cafe counter, his hands trembled, not from fear, but from the quiet weight of choosing kindness when he could barely afford it himself. Outside, rain pressed against the glass like the world was holding its breath, and inside, a single act was about to ripple far beyond a cup of coffee. He didn't know her name, he didn't know her story. And he certainly didn't know that this small, human decision would collide with a life far bigger than either of them imagined. Before the story pulls you deeper, pause for just a heartbeat. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of doing the right thing when no one is watching, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Ripple of Kindness. Your support keeps stories like this alive. The mechanic's life had become a routine of endurance. Each morning began before dawn, hands already stained with oil, mind already counting what would be left after rent, groceries, and the school fees he was behind on again. His garage job paid little, and the ache in his shoulders followed him home every night. Still, he carried himself with a stubborn dignity, the kind forged by years of fixing things that other people had given up on. Cars came to him broken, sputtering, written off as hopeless, and he found a way to make them run again. In many ways, he was trying to do the same with his own life. That morning, he had stepped into the cafe only because the cold had soaked through his jacket, and his hands needed warmth before another long shift. The place smelled of roasted beans and fresh bread, a luxury he rarely allowed himself. He ordered the cheapest coffee, standing slightly apart, careful not to take up space he felt didn't belong to him. That was when he noticed her at the counter, dressed with quiet elegance, holding a cup she hadn't paid for yet. Something had gone wrong with her card. The line behind her shifted impatiently. The barista's polite smile thinned. The mechanic saw her shoulders tense, the faint flicker of embarrassment cross her face. It was a look he knew too well. Without thinking, without calculating the cost, he stepped forward and paid. It wasn't a heroic gesture. It was instinct, the same instinct that made him stop on highways to help stranded drivers or work late without overtime because someone needed their car for the morning. He nodded once, accepted his coffee, and turned away, already bracing himself for the regret he knew would come when he checked his wallet later. He didn't wait for gratitude. He didn't expect anything at all. Kindness to him was not a transaction. It was a reflex born of hardship. As he left, rain slicked the pavement and the city swallowed him whole. The coffee warmed his hands for a few minutes, then cooled, like most good things in his life, fading faster than he wished. Days passed. Bills piled up. The garage owner warned him about slowing business. His daughter's school sent another notice. At night, he lay awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering how close he was to losing the little stability he had built. He replayed the cafe moment once or twice, not with pride, but with a quiet sadness. Kindness felt expensive when survival was already a gamble. What he didn't know was that the woman in the cafe had carried that moment with her too. She was a billionaire CEO, accustomed to boardrooms, power, and people doing things for her because they wanted something in return. That morning had been different. The embarrassment had been real, the vulnerability unfamiliar. And the man who helped her hadn't known who she was, hadn't looked at her with calculation or awe. He had simply seen a human moment and answered it. Back in her world of glass offices and relentless decisions, the memory unsettled her. She had built an empire, yet that simple act exposed something fragile she had almost forgotten. She asked questions, quietly at first. A description, a cafe, a mechanic's uniform. It took time, but resources were something she had plenty of. When the call came to the garage weeks later, the mechanic assumed it was a prank or a mistake, an invitation to meet, an offer to talk. He nearly didn't go, choosing instead to finish a job that barely paid. But something nudged him forward, the same something that had made him pay for a stranger's coffee. The meeting didn't change his life with fireworks or instant miracles. It changed it with intention. She listened to his story, really listened, without interruption or pity. She saw the intelligence in his eyes, the resilience in his hands. She didn't offer charity. She offered opportunity, investment, training, a chance to manage a new division focused on community repair programs, affordable services, and second chances for people like him. The mechanic didn't rise overnight. He learned, struggled, failed, and tried again. But for the first time, the effort led somewhere. His daughter's future steadied. His nights grew quieter. And every time he passed that cafe, he remembered how close he had been to choosing fear instead of kindness. As the years unfolded, his story became one of many within a larger mission. The billionaire CEO never took public credit for that morning, and he never told it as a tale of reward. To him, the lesson wasn't that kindness pays. It was that kindness matters, even when it costs you something, even when no one is watching. If this story is touching something inside you right now, if it's reminding you of moments you almost walked past but didn't, please take a second to like and share this video. Subscribe to Ripple of Kindness so more stories like this can reach hearts that need them. And before this story ends, we have a special request. Please comment below with one word that describes what this story made you feel. Your words matter more than you know, because somewhere, right now, someone is standing at a counter, embarrassed, tired, unseen. And somewhere else, someone is deciding whether to help, even when they have little to give. Sometimes all it takes to change two lives is a cup of coffee and the courage to be kind.